Yu-Gi-Oh! Was able to keep my hyperactive attention span engaged, then what TV shows did I think were weird even as a kid? Keep in mind that these opinions are coming from someone who thought the Star Wars prequels were good. So, Misa, take it with a grain of salt. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. To be fair, I've never seen a single episode of TMNT. From what I hear, it's a good series, but just the concept by itself was enough for my kid brain to think, this show is silly and I'm not gonna watch it. Like, come on. Ninja Turtles? That's a little weird, seeing that turtles are slow and aren't very maneuverable.
Help, I'm a turtle and I can't get up.
Things covered in hair more cute. We're more attracted to things covered in hair. And that's why I'm a furry. Hey, James! Hey! Furby, everyone's gonna put on $2,000 animal costumes and walk around. Do you want to come? No. But don't let me stop you from this hobby of yours. I may not understand why you like it, but as long as you're not harassing or hurting anyone, or anything, then do whatever makes you happy. Also shower regularly and eat your vegetables.
Okay, now I know why you don't throw these in the ocean.
Wine.
How'd you get Sailor Moon with that?
The famous Sailor Moon spaghetti hairs. Insert the theme song right now.
Jupiter, Sailor Mercury. Now
that I know that she's Sailor Moon, I can add some details that you left out.
Bike with no handlebars, no handlebars, no handlebars. I can ride my bike with no handlebars, no handlebars, no handlebars. Look at me, hands in the air like it's good to be alive. And I'm a famous rapper even when the paths are all... He trusts you and thinks that you would accept him the way he is. I don't care, I'm not watching him anymore. Well, that's really nice of you, Mr. Branch. But I still don't trust you. A joke, it will be followed by this message. 2 muffins are in an oven. One says, boy, it's hot in here. And the other says, yeah, you live in Arizona, what'd you expect? That would probably make it hurt even more.
And then there's also like a white cloud, and I don't know what that is. No, that's probably just a cloud, like to show how tall he is.
Yeah.
You drew an airplane too.
Do you see what the airplane is saying?
No.
I think it's saying stop.
Dear Godzilla, stop.
Stop. You just gotta talk to Godzilla nicely.
I have a flight to catch.
And then Godzilla's like, oh, okay, can we do it next week then? It's like, no, Godzilla.
I don't know if you can hear this, but there's like people outside screaming and having fun. Like losers.
How dare they?
Whenever I hear Captain, I think of Captain Crunch.
I think of Captain Underpants, but that's because I saw the movie recently. Very good video of mine. Well, frickin'. I said that, yeah, I said that. Why am I perfectly nitpicking this piece when the poet purposely put poor punctuation in his poems? Pterodactyl!
What the f?
So whose idea was this?
I think I got decided.
The Merry Christmas jar? No! Point it the other way!
Who would watch that? And then 3 years later, we can make a live-action version! Now you're speaking my language, Ethan. Everyone else, you're fired. For some reason, movie producers and showrunners think that kids are stupid and don't know what good content is. They probably think that as long as a kid's show is a cartoon and it's moving, they'll love it. Well, here's the truth, Hollywood. The cartoons don't have to move, but you do need to write likable characters and a plot that actually makes sense. You're thinking, wait, is that not how guys pee? Ladies, you'll just have to trust me on this, but that is the most wrong way a person can pee. The first time I saw the kid doing this was when I was in the urinal right next to him. Pee faster! As us two bros walk through the front door and everyone's wondering how he survived, and Rudolph even says, But you went over the side of a cliff! And then Yukon tells everyone the answer, Didn't I ever tell you about bumbos? Bumbos bounce! And then everyone just laughs it off like it was a hilarious joke and doesn't ask him any more questions. Even as a kid, I thought that was a stupid explanation. What does that mean, bumbos bounce? Like, did you two fall off the cliff and then when you hit the bottom, just trampoline yourself all the way back up? Oh wait, no, I think I know what it means. It means the writers didn't want to kill off a character, so they just came up with a plot device to make him live. You know, because you can't have death in a kid's movie.
Welcome everyone to this brand new YouTube video. What's good? I have Jaden Animations here.
Hi, hi, hi.
So what we're doing in this drawing collab thing is we are drawing each other's old art. We're giving each other art that we drew as kids, and then the other person has to redraw it in their own style and make it good and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yee. Soccer. Well, the British troops would have called it football, and the German troops would have called it football, but I'm calling it soccer. Yeah, I know I'm a heretic. I don't think anything like that has happened in a war ever. Except for that one time in the Revolutionary War when everyone stopped fighting because the new Super Smash Brothers just came out. Merry feet! Merry feet! 'Tis not Falco! Wamba with combination! Oh! Where art thou? Okay, that was obviously a joke. Maybe they didn't come out for at least, like, another year. Stupid. You will be punished unless it's exploitable. Okay, I stole that quote from something I saw on the subreddit, I'm 14 and this is deep. How come no one sings any songs about any of the other reindeer? Rudolph saved Christmas once, and like, he didn't do it alone. Just because he could see through the snow, which, by the way, wouldn't have been useful in Arizona, didn't mean he carried Santa's sleigh all by himself. But no, just because you were bullied as a kid, you get your own song. Well, enough about you going down in history, Rudolph. I'm gonna make my own song about Prancer. Prancer, the normal-nosed reindeer, had a very normal nose. And if you ever saw it, you would even say, yep, that's a nose. All of the other reindeer respected him for meeting the expectations of what a normal reindeer should be like. They always let little Prancer play on his reindeer bike. Okay, I'll stop. What if the reason Rudolph had a shiny nose was because Rudolph's mom had an affair with a clown? So, I think I'm safe. Let's do this! Tim Tom.
How mean are they?
What are you talking about?
The teens, Tim. How mean are they?
Hold on.
Oh, they're horrible.
Really?
Totally brutal.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen anything so vicious.
Have you seen Animal Planet?
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Should I watch it?
Sure.
I just muted it. No. Working at
It's like
Subway
story
is probably one of
time.
the most easiest jobs
Just
out
with
there.
cartoons.
I don't know.
I have the safety on. James was the only one that got the
Oh no! Okay.
Just get one.
Choose a player to take off their shirt for the next round. Tim, take off your shirt. You. So I got a new haircut, I got this new shirt, I'm different now, I'm a different person. As of today, I hit 21 years of
Oddly,
age.
his face matches the little character.
He does not look like what I thought he would look like.
Is that a good or bad thing? Is that is it a good or bad thing? I need to know, tell me. I like to get a cake and put on sprinkles equal to the number of... I just thought of what this video is going to show. I should really think about what I post before I post it.
That's a lot of sprinkles.
She's just like looking at the Fine Bros like, really? You're showing me this? What am I reacting to this time?
This guy's funny.
Yes! Thank you!
I want him to be my friend.
Thank you! Just picking up the vibes I got from him as a
I love
14-year-old.
animation YouTube
I think he
videos.
was
It's my
depressed.
favorite.
Yes! Favorite! All mine them! So far I got so easy to mine. With my Minecraft pickaxe and shovels, hopefully they stay in my Minecraft chests
So I'm gonna make a lock on it. So I'm gonna make a lock on it. My diamonds. My. What about that song? Girls go to Jupiter to get more stupider. I stopped singing because I remembered there was like a non-advertiser friendly part. They go to Venus to get a.
Is her headband red or blue?
It's kind of. Do you want me to say? Why did you draw this?
I had stickers.
I had stickers.
You know, the best media of art.
And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92. I'm 93. Do I still count? No, Grandpa, we hate you. Regardless of how broken your education system is, you should always stay in school, kids. Right, Dave?
I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. I don't believe in ghosts. Do you remember a day in October? The leaves were falling just like me when it was over. One more day of sorrow and I'll struggle to stay sober. Hope to see you later when I get older. I still remember the smell of your perfume. It hasn't left me since the day you made me blue. I think I saw you but I know I'm not supposed to. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. Just like me when it was over. One more day of sorrow and I'll struggle to stay sober. Hope to see you later when I get older. I still remember the smell of your perfume. It hasn't left me since the day you made me blue. I think I saw you but I know I'm not supposed to. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. Ghosts, yeah. Ghosts, yeah. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. It hasn't left me since the day you made me blue. I think I saw you but I know I'm not supposed to. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. A day in October, the leaves were falling just like me when it was over. One more day of sorrow and I'll struggle to stay sober. Hope to see you later when I get older. Do you remember a day in October? The leaves were falling just like me when it was over. One more day of sorrow and I'll struggle to stay sober. Hope to see you later when I get older. I still remember the smell of your perfume. It hasn't left me since the day you made me blue. I think I saw you but I know I'm not supposed to. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. Day in October, the leaves were falling just like me when it was over. One more day of sorrow and I'll struggle to stay sober. Hope to see you later when I get older. I still remember the smell of your perfume. It hasn't left me since the day you made me blue. I think I saw you but I know I'm not supposed to. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. Ghosts, yeah. Ghosts, yeah. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. It hasn't left me since the day you made me blue. I think I saw you but I know I'm not supposed to. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. A day in October, the leaves were falling just like me when it was over. One more day of sorrow and I'll struggle to stay sober. Hope to see you later when I get older. Day in October, the leaves were falling just like me when it was over. One more day of sorrow and I'll struggle to stay sober. Hope to see you later when I get older. I still remember the smell of your perfume. It hasn't left me since the day you made me blue. I think I saw you but I know I'm not supposed to. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. falling just like me when it was over. One more day of sorrow and I'll struggle to stay sober. Hope to see you later when I get older. I still remember the smell of your perfume. It hasn't left me since the day you made me blue. I think I saw you but I know I'm not.
So you know the
Hello? Okay. It's for you, Jane. Look, I'm too tired to be polite. But then, she hung up on me! Like this woman just basically called a random person, said, "You're not funny," and then hung up. So I decided to call her back and said, "Hey, I just found the real Lance! He's the funniest guy I ever met, and he told me he doesn't give his phone number out to rude pieces of shit!" I'm just kidding on that last part. I thought about doing it, but then I went back to sleep. I didn't do it. And then someone on the internet found my phone number, and I changed it. And whoever has my old number is probably getting a lot of calls from...
So you know those books you make in elementary school that you write as a class, and some publishing company makes them into a real book so your family can buy copies? Well, when I was in the 4th grade, we were assigned to write and illustrate a short story that we would make into a book. Now, I'm pretty sure most people wrote stories about normal things, like their dog or their friends. But I wrote a story that had the title of, "I Do Not Like This Family." I don't know for sure, but I bet this title made my teacher very worried. Here's what the cover looks like. Look, I'm so cute. As you can see here, I'm getting beaten up by my brother. Here, I'm being yelled at to wake up. And here, I'm looking out the window at kids having fun on their scooters, while I have a list of chores to do right here. And if anyone's wondering, I had a great childhood. I mean, I wasn't abused or anything. My parents' marriage was stable. I guess I just really hated the chores my mom made me do. But anyway, time to get into the juicy stuff. Here's the story. I Do Not Like This Family by James Rowson. At school. "Okay, class, time for recess," the teacher announced. Side note, the teacher banned the class from using the word "said" in any of our writing, so that's why there's a lot of awkward exclamations. "James!" TJ exclaimed. "Where is Wesley?"
TJ and Wesley are real people that were actually my friends in 4th grade. Wesley moved to a different school, so we lost touch, but me and TJ are still friends. He is not here. Life is different without Wesley, replied James. Wesley, if you are watching this, I am so sorry. Is that Wesley over there? Boy, is he late, TJ replied. I don't know why I made all my friends talk like robots, but Wesley responds, Hi guys, I had a dentist appointment. That is why I am so late. James, did you get my invitation? Yeah, James answered. Can you come? Wesley asked. No, James answered. Why not? Wesley asked. A reporter is coming in, so we have to clean up the house. And my mom is going to be on TV at 12 o'clock midnight, James replied. I love how I never say why my mom will be on TV, but if she's not letting me go to a friend's birthday party so I can clean the house, she's probably doing something illegal. Who would want to stay awake for that long? Just for that, TJ exclaimed. And then my dear friend Wesley suggests, you could run away. Like, I don't even run away to the birthday party. I just run away in the middle of the night. I think I will, James smiled. 11 a.m., time to go. I meant p.m. But if I go out the door, the alarm will go. The escape ladder, James thought. James went down the ladder and hid behind a bush. End of page 1. I'm going to skip ahead a bit because it's more of me talking to myself, but basically I get hungry, I want to eat some berries that's 5 miles away, I find a $1 bill and decide to take the bus there. 1 hour later. Where is that bus? James exclaimed. Finally, the bus is here, James replied with relief. I didn't reply to anything. Sorry, kid, your parents aren't around, the bus driver replied, refusing to let him ride. The bus driver didn't reply to anything either. I'm 11 years old, James exclaimed. I was actually 9 when I wrote this. Apparently being 11 meant you were all big and tough and could ride buses by yourselves. I really looked up to 11-year-olds. So I go home, sleep, and in the morning I hear my dad say, It's too bad your interview on the news was canceled, Dad replied sadly. I obviously don't know what the word replied means. So I get excited that my mom's interview was canceled and I can go to Wesley's birthday party. But then I scream, ow, in pain for some reason. And I'm in pain, and I say, I am going to be on my bed. So I'm on my bed, I rip up the $1 bill I found outside because I think it's unlucky. I also would like to point out that I used a semicolon in the right place. So I call my dad, who in this story is a doctor, and he says, Okay, son, does this hurt? Yeah, James answered. Oh no, Dad exclaimed. So somehow my dad is able to successfully diagnose me by only asking if something hurts. Now, I don't know how real doctors diagnose people, but I'm pretty sure it's not like that. What is 9 I's, Z, 8 S's, and then a space, and then 3 Z's. And then I write, James said, as he fell asleep. What happens next is such a big plot twist I bet none of you saw coming. As I'm laying on my bed unconscious, my dad says, kidney failure. And then it's followed by 4 frowny face emoticons in parentheses. I can't believe that my 9-year-old mind somehow knew what kidney failure was. Where did I learn this? Later at the hospital, he had an operation. He lost both of his kidneys, the nurse exclaimed. I'll donate a kidney, James's brother exclaimed. We're almost done, guys. And then I think to myself, kidney, kidney, kidney. Those words just repeated and repeated in his mind. James could not believe his ears. His brother, in parentheses, the one who beat him up, close parentheses, liked him. Okay, so this story just turned somewhat heartwarming. I wonder what I'll say next. After the operation, James and his brother had trouble going to the bathroom. Yeah, how did I know so much about an organ that helped you urinate? Okay, last sentence. James found out how much his family cared for him. I think your family cares for you too. Actually, I remember that line. Yeah, my teacher made me write that in. Starting 9th grade was probably the worst decision I have ever made. I didn't go to a public school, I went to a preparatory school that made us wear uniforms, wake up early, and use lockers. And I went to the school with my twin sister, and we had every single class together. So since we didn't know anyone, we sat next to each other in all our classes. And as the school year went on, we got to know more people and we all became friends. Soon everybody in the 9th grade knew who we were. But one day, it was about the second to last week of school, and we just finished our classes. And we were both 14, so you know, we were still kind of weird. Puberty and stuff. And I say, Faith, you know what would be funny? If you bump into someone, and then say, oh sorry, let me apologize with my sympathy rub. And then I proceeded to rub my sister's arm. Slowly and gently, because that's what a sympathy rub is. I mean, it's not my best work, but I think it's funny. But there was a teacher walking by who didn't think it was that funny. It was a middle school teacher, so we've never seen her before, and she asks us, hey, do you two know the school's policy on PDA? And my sister responds with, yep, and starts to walk away. Oh, I'm not done. The teacher then began to give us a lecture about why we have to keep our feelings for each other outside of school. She said stuff like, I know you're both young and in love, and, but your hormones are all out of whack, and now it's not a time to be going steady with someone. So apparently this teacher saw us sit next to each other in classes, walk with each other in the hallway, and eat lunch together, and naturally assumed that we were madly in love. Me and Faith looked at each other, and we were both thinking, do we tell her? You know, we probably should have, but we didn't want to make the teacher feel awkward or anything, so we just kept our mouths shut and nodded. And I remember while this was happening, my friend Anthony walked by, and, knowing we were both brother and sister, was extremely confused why we were being told not to show our feelings for each other in school. And like, we weren't even making out or anything, we just did everything together, so I don't know what the teacher's problem was. So after the teacher was done talking, I thought it was extremely funny and wanted to tell everyone in the whole school, but Faith was utterly embarrassed and wanted to keep quiet. Down the hall, Anthony was waiting for us and asked if we got called out for PDA. I told him my sympathy rub joke, and Faith made him swear to never tell anyone. And this would probably be the end of the story, but the next day, while our geometry teacher was teaching a different class, the teacher that called us out came in and said, hey, do you know the blonde curly hair girl with a boyfriend that looks just like her? I'm sorry, but just saying that sentence should probably trigger some sort of red flag. My geometry teacher said our names. Faith and James? Yeah, well, I saw them holding hands, which I wasn't, by the way. I was giving her a sympathy rub. But the whole class burst out laughing anyway. So my geometry teacher informed her they're twins. So the teacher ended up feeling awkward anyway. I still thought it was hilarious, and now everyone knew about it. And Faith was glad there was only 2 more weeks of school left. You probably don't know this about me, but I am actually an Eagle Scout. And to be an Eagle Scout, you have to do Scout stuff, like go camping. And over the summer, my troop would like to travel to a place called Camp Geronimo, where we would live in the wilderness for 7 days. There are about 30 other scout troops that would come, and there were no cabins at the place. We had to sleep in tents. My first year at camp, my friend TJ and I just met the minimum age requirement to go. Yes, it was the same TJ from the first video, and being the good friends that we are, we decided to share a tent for the whole week. It's not weird. We were in the wilderness. We shared for survival. But we quickly learned that we weren't protecting ourselves from bears or anything. We were protecting ourselves from the older kids. You see, there is a perfect linear function based on your age versus how cool you were. And TJ and I were obviously not cool. So about 3 days into camp, someone thought it would be funny to take a can of Axe deodorant spray, tie down the button thing that sprays the Axe, throw it in our tent, and then zip the tent flap shut. This horrendous act is actually a very common prank among Boy Scouts called Axe bombing.
Eventually, I had to go get something from the tent, so I opened the flap thing and... I was just hit with this wall of awful smells. You think boys like the smell of axe? Nah, that stuff's friggin' gross. I'd never experienced the heinous act of axe bombing in my whole life until then. But this wasn't how I wanted it to happen. I immediately got mad. Like, super pissed. I went up to TJ, grabbed him by the shoulder, looked directly into his perfect face and said, TJ! Someone just axe-bombed our tent! And TJ just shrugged and went, you know what? Whatever. There's no reason to get mad. It won't help us. And TJ's response to this has actually stuck with me. I think about what he said whenever I'm stressed out about homework, or if my computer crashes and I lose all my files. It really helps calm me down. But as a 12-year-old, I said, psh, okay, TJ, you do you. I'm gonna go get revenge. But I had no idea who actually axe-bombed our tent, and whoever did is still a mystery to this day. But I decided to blame the 15-year-olds, with their stupid, guilty faces. I even asked them just to be sure. Hey, did you axe-bomb my tent? No. Okay, I knew it was them. And the 15-year-olds were pretty cool, but not the coolest. There still were the oh-so-famous 16-year-olds. So to help prove that they were still cool, they built a mega tent out of logs. And tent is probably an understatement for that thing. They had logs tied around trees, 5 walls, a back and a front door. It even had a log roof that some boys could stand on. And all the 15-year-olds slept under it every night. And I came up with a perfect plan to get my revenge. Sorry, I have to turn this into a 2-part thing. So anyway, thanks for watching. You can see 2 of my other videos that I've made, or a whole bunch of funny comics at my website. I mean, I'm not just gonna ask you to like, favorite, subscribe, and comment, but if you do wanna do that, you could. So me and TJ had to sleep a whole night in the axe-smelling tent. Every breath I could taste the smell, and I just got more and more angry. The night finally passed, and I woke up early in the morning before everyone else, so I could start with my master revenge plan. Was I tired? Maybe, but that's a sacrifice you have to make for vengeance. Every campsite had a water fountain coming out of the ground, connected to a PVC pipe. I found the biggest Ziploc freezer bag I could find and started to fill it up with water. It was obviously a slow process. I had plenty of time to reconsider, to think about what TJ said or what would happen after I got my revenge. But nothing stopped me. I was a squeaky-voiced, hormone-induced monster. Once the bag was full, I went back to my tent and woke TJ up. He got up and I told him to watch this. TJ actually had no part in the revenge plan. I just wanted to suck him down with me. I think TJ actually didn't want to get revenge. I ran towards the mega log tent and hid behind a real tent that was right next to the log one. Everyone was still inside. TJ still had no clue what I was doing. Until I chucked the bag over the real tent. If everything went according to plan, the bag would break on the roof and the water would sink through the openings, and then they'd be super wet, LOL. That was the plan. I never saw the carnage my creation had done. I was worried that I'd completely missed the log tent. I never played any sports as a kid, so just making it over the first tent would have been an accomplishment. But the fact that everyone started screaming and one boy yelled, "Micah, I'm gonna kill you!" I knew it must have been the most perfect shot.
Did I stay around and laugh at their stupid, guilty faces? No. Me and TJ ran away as fast as we possibly could, without looking back. We sprinted off into the woods before any 15-year-old saw us. We just kept running and running, making sure to get as far away from camp as possible. And on the way, I kinda threw up a little. TJ, being the good friend that he was, thought I was unfit to run, so he decided that we should hide in some bushes. After about 5 minutes, nobody came. Should we head back to camp? No. Yeah, you're right. So we kept running, until we found the lake where scouts could canoe in. Me and TJ both thought this was a good place to stop, so we sat by the lake and talked for a few hours. Because in a week, TJ and his family were going to move away to China for 2 years. And I knew I wouldn't see him again for a long time. So I wanted to spend every moment I had with him. We were just a couple of bros being real with each other, skipping rocks and talking about our feelings. And then that night, the 15-year-old's tent got axe-bombed. So I guess it wasn't them. Oh, and remember how I threw up after running so much? Well, apparently there was a sickness going around camp that all the camp instructors got, and about 50% of the scouts got it too. And lo and behold, one of the 15-year-olds wasn't feeling so well when he went to bed that night. And then the sudden jolt awake and the cold water made him throw up. Yay! There comes a time in everyone's life when you just do something crazy and stupid for no reason. But it's not a new concept. People have been doing crazy things for centuries. And if they had Twitter back then, these would definitely be some of the YOLO swag moments. Number 1. Thutmose III. He was an Egyptian pharaoh that was only 17 years old when he got the job. He was leading his army to capture a city called Megiddo. It was his first time leading a march, and he had to look out for Canaanite soldiers who wanted to kill him and wipe out his army. He came across a mountain range, and knew Canaanite soldiers were on the other side. He had 3 possible routes to take. Thutmose could lead his army around either sides of the mountains, or lead them down a narrow path going through the middle. His advisors said the best way to go was around the mountains, because if the Canaanite soldiers attacked, they could stretch their army out and flank the enemy. But if they went through a narrow pass, Canaanite soldiers could wait right here and kill Thutmose' army one by one. But Thutmose, being the cocky, rebellious punk that he was, looked his advisors straight in the eye and said, YOLO, probably. And he would have tweeted about it too. Despite having no good reason to go through the mountains, he did. And the story could have ended there with 10,000 Egyptian deaths. But the Canaanites on the other side of the mountain thought no one would be stupid enough to go through the mountain pass, so they positioned their army here and here. When Thutmose got to the other side, he saw an extreme lack of Canaanite soldiers there. He marched his army back around, surprising the Canaanite soldiers and winning the battle. Number 2. Onfim. Onfim was a 7-year-old boy who lived in Novgorod, Russia in the 1200s. He went to school and did his homework scratched in soft birch bark. He probably really hated school because, in this example of homework we found, we see the first 11 letters of the alphabet here, and then a picture of a warrior who's probably killing the teacher, which is labeled Onfim. In this piece, we have homework on one side, and on the other side is a picture of what looks like to be a wild beast, and the writings, I am a wild beast. And he's holding a sign that reads, Greetings from Onfim to Danilo. Now he's writing notes to his friend? This guy was the oldest example of someone who wasn't paying attention in school. There's also a picture of his mom and his dad, Onfim and his dad, who apparently was a warrior, some battle scenes with a really long horse, and some more random doodles. I mean, the doodles I made when I was 7 were a little better. Can you imagine 800 years from now, future archaeologists digging up doodles you made in 1st grade? I wonder if his teacher saw these. He turned them in, right? This just proves that teachers have been dealing with obnoxious students for centuries. I'm surprised the scientists didn't find this work on an ancient refrigerator. Number 3. Michelangelo. Michelangelo is, by definition, a swag master.
He didn't give a flying buttress what people said about his art. He didn't care if you were the Pope. In fact, he hated the Pope. So when the Pope commissioned him to paint the Sistine Chapel, he straight up said, no. But he really needed the dough, so he reluctantly did it. In an act of pure swag, he left a couple of hidden Easter eggs inside. In one painting, we have God creating the sun and moon. Get it? The sun and moon? Classic. People prayed under this for hundreds of years. There's also a debate in this iconic part of God giving life to Adam. You see, some people see an outline of a human brain right here. Now, people don't know if Mikey put it in there intentionally, or what he meant by it if he did. Some people say that he meant that God is giving Adam intelligence, and others say that God was thought up by man. Something else, when the papal minister of ceremonies, Biago de Sensina, I don't know. Anyway, he came in while Michelangelo was painting and complained about all the nudity. Michael said he wasn't going to change it, and the minister left begrudgingly. So to get back at him, Michael painted the man in hell. And just to add insult to injury, he painted a snake biting off his David parts. The Pope wanted Michelangelo to change it, but he was so done with Michael's swagger that he decided to leave it. Number 4, Annie Taylor. Annie Taylor was taking a boat tour to see Niagara Falls when the thought came to her, I want to slide down that. She was going through a bit of economic trouble at the time and thought that going down the falls in a barrel would make her famous. She had a special barrel made and padded it with a mattress. She tested it by putting a cat in the barrel and sending it over the falls, which luckily survived with minor injury. 2 days later, Annie went over and also survived. However, she earned some money, but not a lot. She spent the rest of her life posing for photographs with tourists, just trying to earn enough money until she died in 1921. But you are more thankful that the cat lived, aren't you? Number 5. Patu. In the 1770s, a racehorse named Potatoes was resting in a stable when a stable worker asked the owner what the horse's name was. He needed to know what to write on a feeding bucket. The owner said the horse's name, but the worker misheard him, thinking he said pot, 8 O's. And thus the name Patu was born. And the worker would have been a great employee at Starbucks, seeing that he misspells people's names wrong. But the story doesn't end there. The owner thought the name was funny and was full of swag, and decided to change the name to Patu. However, they still pronounced it potatoes, but they wrote it pot, 8 O's. I guess the horse must have been Irish. Before I begin, I'd like to say that this video is extremely embarrassing for me. I'm going to tell you some things that some of my closest friends don't know about me. So if you know me in real life, or if you're like my future boss or grandchild watching this, then please... Alright. Things that I do that adults probably don't do. I close my closet door before I go to sleep every night. Okay, so this one's not super embarrassing, but why do I do this? I know monsters aren't real. Sometimes I'll already be in my bed, open my eyes just a tiny bit, and see the black void of my closet, and then I have to get up and close it. It makes me uncomfortable, I don't know why. It's not like there's a monster in my closet that's been waiting for like 18 years for the one night I forget to close my door. I just don't like it open. Also, I'm terrified of crossing streets. I will always speed walk across the street while checking both directions every 2 seconds. I think part of the reason why I'm afraid is because when I was little, my mom told me the way cars were made, drivers can't see little kids at all. Which I'm going to call bullcrap on that, Mom, unless you're driving like a monster truck. So whenever I would cross the street and see a car in the distance, I would have to run as fast as I possibly could. I didn't want to die. So I guess that fear stayed with me as I grew up. And I remember in high school, some kids would walk across the street without looking both ways. Not even a glance. They were just like, the car better stop for me. Even if they're already going 50, it's their fault. So if me and you are ever walking together, and suddenly I start speed walking, you'll know why. I watch Minecraft videos, and I don't even play Minecraft anymore.
What happened was that I started watching them while I drew comics. If I didn't feel like listening to music or Netflix didn't have any good movies to watch, I would watch some Minecraft videos, specifically Captain Sparkles. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. He's a pretty small gaming channel. And I started watching more and more, and I kind of got attached to the point where if I had no idea what to draw, I would still watch the Minecraft videos anyway. And I'll promise you right now that I watched some Captain Sparkles while making this video. Okay, I talk to my dogs. Or rather, I talk for my dogs. I give my pets certain voices, and I talk to them in my voice, and then respond for them in their voice. And for some reason, they're pretty mean to me. I have 2 dogs, and they both make an appearance in this comic. This one, named Poppy, has a voice like this. And this one, Georgie, talks like a hello. So a normal thing for me to do is, oh, hi, Poppy.
Hello.
You're in my spot, Poppy.
I know.
Can you move?
No.
But I was sitting there first.
Well, I'm sitting here now, so why don't you find a place on the floor?
Poppy? The dog has no idea what's going on, and I've created this scenario now where I'm sad and sitting on the floor to watch my Minecraft. Only me and my sister know that I do this. I don't know what I'd tell someone if they walked in on me and saw me doing this. But now I guess everyone knows. Oh, hello, I have a voice too, and I talk like this. Shut up. So I was cleaning my room the other day, and I found this book behind one of my drawers, like all the way in the back. It's probably been there for years. I had completely forgotten all about it. But as soon as I saw it, I had all these repressed memories come rushing back. This would make a good video. This is one of those books you make in grade school and get it made into a real book so your family can buy copies. I've already made a video about a book I made in 4th grade, but this is a book I made in 2nd grade. And it's not one where we got to write a whole story with action, suspense, and kidney failures, no. We only had to write 1 page and draw a picture. Yeah, you'd think I wouldn't mess this up, wouldn't you? But here we go. The book was called Our Gift to the World, and it had a picture of everyone in the class on the cover. And interestingly enough, here's itty bitty TJ right here. My twin sister Faith from the preparatory school video is here, and even Wesley from the first video is here. So can you guess who I am? Let's remove some of the obvious ones. I'm this one! Okay, I know I'm not the only one with an embarrassing photo, but come on, I'm not even smiling. Ugh, and it only gets worse. Everyone had to write their gift to the world, what they would do to make the world a better place. Here's what most pages looked like. And here's what TJ wrote. My gift to the world would be peace. I would babysit everyone's baby, for the Lord has said, let there be peace. I would also do their chores. Also, what is going on in your picture? I think that's a person? And is that the sun? And who would let a 2nd grader babysit their baby? Okay, so everyone's talking about peace and homeless people and stuff, and here is how 2nd grade James would do good in the world. What would you give to the world? I would be a troop of a war. Yeah, I'd kill people, that's how I'll help. I can also bring food for the war. I can even risk my life for another troop. I can be a nurse to help others. But the best part of all of this is the picture. Here's what I drew, and here's what Faith drew. Obviously, you can see who's the more artistic one in the family. Now, let me try to explain what's going on in this picture, because if the teacher knew what I actually drew, she would have definitely called my parents. So I drew my people in a very weird way back then. I had a circle, face, then I added arms and legs and hair. Boom! So, the good guys are colored in red, and the bad guys are the orange, purple, and yellow ones. The red guys are standing back to back, killing everyone. This guy is holding a sword, for some reason, and this guy is holding a gun, and it shoots 3 bullets. And if we look at where the bullets are going, we see one's shooting a purple guy, an orange guy hiding in a tree, and a yellow guy who is very dead, I think. And at the bottom of the tree, there's a crocodile, and the purple, yellow, and orange guys are trying to climb up the tree to get away, but the branch is falling, so he's sad, 'cause he's going to die. Up here we have some birds. These black lines are birds, because we all know that birds are just really long M's. So these birds we see are dropping the bad guys, and I guess these 3 birds are carrying the bad guys away? And you know how everyone draws a sun in the corner of the page? Well, I did, but the sun is actually eating the bad guys. Which is a very sad way to die if you ask me, getting eaten by the sun. And I remember, even as a 2nd grader, being super embarrassed when the teacher read it out to the class. So I guess when I brought it home, I hid it behind my drawer so I'd never have to see it again. Except my grandparents got copies.
About 2.5 years ago, I wanted someone to help with the art side of my webcomic because I had no idea where to start. I started looking at other people's art in my school until I saw one girl's drawings, and I was absolutely amazed. She's the one. I basically told her, "You're my friend now." She probably didn't realize what she was getting herself into. We're still friends to this day, but still, I am an annoying friend. Seriously, this one time at lunch, I randomly asked her, "Will you say faux shizzle?" Because she's black. She said, "No. What if I get 100 people to sign a petition?" "Okay," she said, thinking I wouldn't spend the rest of lunch going to random tables, having them sign a piece of paper, and then having everyone in my English and drama class sign it. I got 100 signatures in one day. Get on my level. And she, being true to her word, said it. And I taped it too. I asked her if I could show the video, and she said no. What if I get 100 people to sign? No! So sorry guys. Here's the audio.
I'm probably gonna pronounce it wrong.
You're gonna pronounce it wrong. Okay.
Do you only sing it once? Or do you
Apparently.
have to have extra signatures for more than one time? I think just once.
Okay, then say it.
Okay, go shizzle.
Yay!
And I'm also friends with this ginger kid, and to protect his identity, we'll call him Nick Jiggly. That was a nickname I gave him because his real name was Nick Jernigan. And what really sparked our friendship was our love for dating women. I'm just kidding, we played Magic the Gathering. And he was slightly better than me, but only because he bought the most expensive cards. So whenever he would be beating me, I would get back at him emotionally by insulting his red hair. "I attack with my Reaper from the Abyss," says the ginger. He would always laugh about it, but I secretly meant it. So this one time, my Boy Scout troop took a trip to a lake, and there was one spot where you could go cliff diving. And I wasn't on the young side anymore, I was more in the middle, and everyone was having a fun time swimming and jumping. And this one kid named Harris, he was one of the young ones, he came up to us and said, "My mom told me I can't go cliff diving." And in my mind I was thinking, "Okay, Harris, your mom's not here." But I didn't really care too much. A couple hours pass and everyone just started talking on top of the cliff. And I spot Harris sitting by himself, and I get an idea. I said, "Hey Harris, why don't you come sit with us?" I hope you know where I'm going with this. Harris joined the group. Still was quiet though, and I wanted to push him off the cliff. I started to think of ways I can get him close to the edge, but the dude was already standing near the edge, back turned, probably thinking of something emotional. Tell me if you were in my position, you wouldn't push him off the edge. And I screamed, "Your mom's not here!" as I pushed him off. He was fine. I jumped off there plenty of times. I wish you could have seen his face. He flailed his arms a lot but was dead silent. He probably thought he was going to die. Hey, Harris was a quiet kid. He didn't have any friends either. So after I pushed him, people talked to him for like 5 minutes. So Harris, if you're watching this, you're welcome.
I just wanted to give you guys an update that my next video probably isn't going to come out for a while because of a lack of a working Cintiq. So in the meantime, I've created a mini-series called Think About That, where I tell you something and you think about that. So in this episode, think about this. Sometimes the little things in life are the smallest. Yeah, think about that. But for 2 weeks. Do. Colleges love extracurricular activities. It is the final say whether you'll get into the college or not. You got a perfect score on the SAT? Yeah, but Billy played tennis. So I went to a preparatory school my freshman year, and I joined the newspaper club. And the only reason I did was because I wanted to put my comics in the school newspaper. I was a comic freak back then, still am though. But I went to like 2 meetings and it became very obvious that we weren't going to make a school newspaper. So I stopped going and I was basically a derp for the rest of the year. Sophomore year rolls around and I was going public. And one of my friends, he suggested that I do track and field. And I was like, oh, that doesn't seem like a very physically demanding sport. Yeah. On the first day, I was so bad, I threw up on the warm-up lap. I mean, at least I was pushing myself. On the second day, we ran off school grounds before school started, and everyone else made it back before the starting bell rang. But me, being the slowest one on the team, didn't make it back until first period had already started. And then I had to explain to my teacher why I was late and sweaty. I quit track team after those 2 times, and I was basically a derp again for the rest of the year. Then junior year rolls around, and this one girl, she told me, "James, you're so funny! You should try out for the improv team." And I was like, yeah, okay. Improv was basically a group of all the cool theater kids. And if you have any experience with theater kids, then you know that they're just a real treat. I walk into the room for tryouts. Everyone is loud, people already know each other, and no one is quiet. Except for me sitting in a chair by myself. Everyone took a turn playing an improv game. And when it was my turn, I went up, and I tried my best. And then I sat back down. And I guess the captain saw something in me because I made the team. And it was awesome. But I only went 2 times. I'm just kidding. I stayed in there for the rest of my junior and senior year. Oh, and the newspaper team at the public school asked if I could make comics for their newspaper. One quick story about improv. So we were considered a competitive improv group that competed against other schools doing shows. And we were playing this one game called Categories. Basically, you were given a category like fruit. We would stand in a line, and if the judge pointed to us, we would have to say something in that category. And if you couldn't think of anything, or you said something that wasn't in the category, you were out. So we played the game, and it comes down to me and one other player. And our category was occupations. And out of the millions of occupations to choose from, the first thing I said was porn star. And everyone started laughing and giggling, but I was too caught up in the moment. Yeah, let's go! Has anyone said crack dealer yet? The judge said I was inappropriate, and the other team won. So that's my story. Did it help me get into a good college? No. But if there's anything you should learn from this, is that you should not be doing any sports. Okay, stomach, shut up. So I was thinking of video ideas when I thought I could talk about stupid things I believed as a kid. But the only thing I could really think of was the fact that I thought if I ate too many bananas, I would turn into a monkey. And I didn't want that to happen, so I stopped eating bananas and have grown a distaste for them ever since. So I asked my twin sister, whose name is Faith by the way, if she could remember anything I believed. She couldn't think of anything about me, but gave plenty of examples about things she believed. So here we go. For the sake of comedy, I'm going to exploit my twin sister. Stupid things my sister believed as a kid, but not anymore. So we have this older sister who's like 9 years older than us, and she told my sister that the computer could talk back to us through typing. It happened because Faith was on the computer and an error message popped up. She asked my older sister what was wrong with it, and she said, "The computer says you're typing on it too hard." Faith asked her to tell the computer she was sorry, and soon she was having a full-on conversation with it on a regular basis. But the older sister would have to be there to communicate. "Tell it that I got 100% on my spelling test." "Okay, I'm typing it in." "What did it say?" "It says it doesn't care." Another thing was that one time my sister was drinking water and saw a bug in her drink. She freaked out and poured the water out. But my older brother said, "You know something scary? Since you were drinking water, you could see the bug. But if you were drinking something like milk, you wouldn't see it. Because milk isn't clear like water." So she stopped drinking milk for a while, but she drinks milk now, of course. So this one time, our dad came to us and said, "Come on, kids, we have to go. It's buy one, get one free." But he said it kind of fast, so it sort of formed into one word. So he said, "Come on, kids, it's buy one, get one free." And we were like, "What's buy one, get one free? Do you know what buy one, get one free is? I don't know what buy one, get one free is. What's buy one, get one free?" My sister asked if we could buy things at buy one, get one free, and my dad was like, "Yeah." So she brought her own money. We were waiting in the car for our dad to get ready, when my brother said, "You know, at buy one, get one free, there are skeletons that pop out and steal your money." So I thought, oh, this buy one, get one free is like an outdoor horror place, huh? And that scared my sister and she didn't take her money. But when we got to buy one, get one free, it was just a grocery store and my dad was excited about the sale on milk. You know, I'm beginning to realize that a lot of these problems exist because older siblings suck. So this one I believed in too. You know how sometimes airplanes have those little smoke trails coming out? Well, we thought that those airplanes were what made clouds. All those clouds, just a bunch of airplanes. And I remember seeing a factory with steam stuff coming out and I thought, wow, that's a very big cloud maker. Another funny thing is that my sister believed in the Tooth Fairy way longer than she believed in Santa Claus. That's because my parents didn't make us believe in Santa Claus. No, we just pretend Santa's real. Like, you know, Mickey Mouse isn't real. You know how, like, someone dresses up as him and goes to Disneyland? Well, it's kind of like the same thing, you know, we just pretend that he's real. We pretend that he comes and visits us every night, you know, we pretend. So yeah, we never really believed in Santa Claus, but for some reason, our parents made us believe in the Tooth Fairy. So yeah, that's about it. Glad I didn't believe in stupid crap like my sister. Hey everyone, so I wanted to try to do something a little different. Before I tell you about it, I want to say that I'm going to take a trip to France starting today until June 28th. Stupid pass, James. It's actually July 11 to 28. Now, don't be sad, for I felt like I haven't been giving this YouTube thing the attention it deserves, which is why I've stockpiled a new video to come out every single day while I'm gone. I'm going to make just a bunch of random videos I think you'll like. Obviously, they're going to be much shorter than usual. That's 18 new videos. This counts as one of them, so I guess now it's 17. So when I was little, I couldn't pronounce my R's. I talk like this and I couldn't pronounce anything. I remember one time I was at a friend's house and I spilled my drink. I didn't want him or his mom to find out, so I asked his little sister, who was like 5, "Where are the wags?" I'm trying to say rags. I'm looking for rags. And she was like, "Flags? No, the wags." And she never figured out what I was trying to say, and I was on the verge of tears. But then the mom found out and picked it up. She used a mop. A mop. Should have said that one. So the creator of the comic XKCD answered a question in his book, What If?, about how many unique possible tweets there can be. By the way, this guy's really, really awesome, and if this is your first time hearing about him, you should definitely check him out. He said something like 1 billion tweets or whatever, I don't know. But he made the point not to count the ones that didn't make sense or were very similar. But I don't care about uniqueness. I want to end up with the number of how many possible tweets there can be. The biggest number. So let's look at how many different characters we have. So there's 95 different characters on the standard QWERTY keyboard. But we also have to count characters that aren't on the keyboard, like this one. Or this one. So how many total different characters are there? Wow! Okay, you know what? Let's just stick to the QWERTY keys. Sorry, Europe. Hey man, it's whatever. So we have 95 different options for the first character, and 95 for the second, and for the third, and soon we have all 140 characters. But we also have to add tweets that don't go up to 140. So here we add the 139, and the 138, and then we math, calculate, and the grand total is... Can you see that? Here, let me rewrite it. Ah! Yeah, that's a lot! This number includes every tweet that has been written and every tweet that will be written, as long as they don't have this or this symbol. Just to show you how big this number is, this is how many milliseconds old the universe is. I mean, it's probably gone up by now, but just look at that. It's a big number! Yesterday I told you how many possible tweets there were, and today I'm going to answer what would happen if Steve Jobs descended from heaven and gave every man, woman, and child a smartphone, and we all started to constantly tweet. How long would it take for us to tweet everything possible? I'm going to round down the Earth's population to 7 billion, because some people only have one arm and they can't tweet, and some people are blind, and some people are babies, so 7 billion, it's an easy number. And let's say we can all tweet 2 tweets per minute. It would only take us this many years. Okay, what if Steve Jobs gave everyone 2 smartphones and the power to tweet at 1 tweet a second? So that's 14 billion tweets every second. Now with this much power, it would still only take us this many years and this many centuries. So I live in Arizona, it's whatever, and there's a grocery store called Bashas'. I didn't realize that it was just an Arizona thing. I thought they were everywhere. Now let me tell you, Bashas' is the best. Why? Well, there are 3 main reasons. 1, they have a play place. So while mom's out grocery shopping, you could play with Play-Doh. And it was awesome. Number 2, their donuts were very mediocre for a low price. So whenever a teacher was like, "Hey class, you deserve a treat. Let's have a donut party," you already know he's going to get some of that Bashas' dough. Heck, I've only ever had Bashas' donuts, so I have nothing to compare it against. 3, in elementary school, and I'm not making this up, we took a field trip there, and they showed us how to make pizza. What kind of school takes their kids to a grocery store? Bashas', because it's awesome. Sometimes I'll pull into a Bashas' parking lot and I see a school bus, and I'm like, cool, someone's having a field trip. This video is going to be directed to everyone's favorite household appliance, the microwave. You know, microwave, I'm going to be straight with you. Yes, I appreciate that you beep obnoxiously when you're done. It's fine, I get it. I'll be in the other room and you'll say, "Hey, I'm done!" It works out perfectly. But sometimes, microwave, I want you to shut up. Sometimes I don't want everyone in the house to know I'm heating up ramen noodles at 2:30 in the morning. And why do you have to beep 3 times? If I'm able to open the door, get my food out, and shut it, you shouldn't still be beeping like, "Hey, did you get your food?" Yeah, microwave, I did. You know, we can fix this, microwave. It doesn't have to be this way. All you need is a mute button. And when the mute button is turned on, it'll flash mute on the screen in the little corner. And so if I don't want you muted, I'll be like, "Oh, it's muted. I better turn it off." Sometimes I've had a stressful day, microwave, and I don't need to hear any of your crap. In this video, I'm going to bring something into your life that you might not have known existed. Everyone, check this animal out. Whoa, it's a kind of turtle mixed with a giraffe. This, everyone, is called a snake-necked turtle. And honestly, it's probably my favorite reptile. Imagine 2 turtles about to fight, and one turtle's a snake-necked turtle, but the other turtle doesn't know it. So they're saying stuff like, "Hey man, your shell's ugly." "Yeah? Well, your mom can't swim." And then one turtle punches the other one. Bah! But his neck keeps going, and it's all a tangled mess all over the ground. And the other turtle is staring in horror, because he thinks he just punched the other turtle's head off. But then the snake-necked turtle does like a surprise attack and wraps his whole neck around the other turtle, and now he's even more confused because necks aren't supposed to be that long. And the snake-necked turtle's like, "Yeah, is my shell ugly now, moron? Huh? Huh?" Okay, yeah, I'll stop. Here are 10 names you can name your baby if any of you watching are pregnant. Number 10, Ketchup. Number 9, The Odd One's Out. Number 8, Firepaw. Number 7, Swag Money. Number 6. Number 5, Tinkerbro. Number 4, Your Name and Junior. Number 3, James Jr. Number 2, Lucifer. And finally, number 1, Obama-chan. Now girl names! Number 10, LaQuisha. Number 9, Shrek-tastic. Number 8, Adam Sandler. Number 7, Yellow. Number 6, the very first word to appear in this morning's Garfield comic. Number 5, jet fuel can't melt steel beams. Number 4, pick a random Magic the Gathering card. Number 3, your name, and then part 2. Number 2, James Jr. Part 2, Reloaded. And finally, number 1, Captain Sparkles. Twin life. Living with the twin. Is it better than being an only child? Yeah, it is. Let me tell you why. If any of you two slept past your alarm for school, the other one would wake you up. If you didn't understand the homework, you can copy it from your twin. If one of you got their license before the other one did because you failed your driving test, then she can give you a ride everywhere. And best of all, if you have no friends in elementary school, boom, you have a twin. Yeah, we've had our quarrels from time to time, but we've always been able to look past those and put our differences aside. Also, I'm the older one by like 4 minutes. Now, there are some people who have weird stereotypes about twins. Now, I think people are joking when they ask, do you guys have mind powers? Or, do you feel pain if I punch him? Who keeps telling people this? Did I miss the day when the teacher talked about all the cool powers twins have? But anyway, I decided to talk about twins today to add sort of a precursor for tomorrow's video. When I got my first microphone, I had a couple of test audio recordings to see how close I should keep my face to the microphone and stuff like that. And just a couple of weeks ago, I re-listened to one of them and I thought it was really funny. So I'm going to show it to you. It's in really poor quality. It was a $20 microphone. I didn't have a pop filter and did nothing to reduce the echo, and I was just bad at reading. So without further ado, here it is.
So it sounded like I was trying to be slow talking, quiet and smooth and sexy. But instead, I'm going to try and talk like you're my best friend and I love you. So I'm going to read a book. No, I'm going to read a page, not a whole book, please. I'm going to read a page of Golden and Gray, The Nightmare That Ghosts Have. Okay, that just turned into my sexy voice. I'll try not to do that anymore. It is my favorite book, which I've never read, but I heard it's great from the reviews I've read. Oh. Okay, well, instead of like a whole page, I'll read like half a page. Little Frank Longfield burst through the door, heart pounding, and skidded to a halt. He loosened his school tie, gasping in heavy breaths, lungs aching from running. A quick glance behind assured him that Big Ben was nowhere to be seen, but still an uneasy feeling crawled inside him, and it couldn't be shaken. Something felt wrong. That was my sexy voice again. Just switching it up, seeing if I should fluctuate or not. Here goes my happy-go-lucky voice. He has no idea where he was. Wait, what? He had no idea where he was. He'd been so desperate to get away, so scared, that he'd run and run without a thought of where he was going. His feet always 10 steps ahead of his mind. Big Ben had been behind him, so close behind, and Frank had simply run and run until his shouts grew distant, until the sounds of chasing footsteps became fainter, and still he'd run on, through labyrinth-like school corridors, running until he physically couldn't run any farther. His legs shook beneath him, scarcely able to carry his own weight. Who's behind me? No one's behind me. Okay, this is just a scary story. I think I'm imagining things. He took his school bags off his shoulder and let it slide to the floor. He managed to loose his pursuer. Yes, he managed to loose. I'm saying loose, it's really lose. Excuse me. He had managed to lose his pursuer, so he should be safe now. That's the opposite of what I wanted. But still, that feeling inside him remained. A gnawing worry, a sense of being... Okay, someone's behind me. It's Ariana. I'm feeling like Big Ben right now. Relatable character. He'd managed to lose his pursuer, so he should be safe now. But still, that feeling inside him remained. A gnawing worry, a sense of being watched, of not being alone. Just the knowledge, indescribable, but definitely there. And something was italicized wrong. Frank glared up down the corridor, but it was utterly deserted. rummaging in his bag, he managed to find the Throbbington school map they had been given on. That's the end of the first page. If you want more, you're gonna have to buy the book, because I ain't reading all that crap.
So my brother worked at a gym for kids, and he was their teacher and stuff. And one day a kid found a kitten outside and gave it to my brother. My brother took it home and just showed up with a kitten at the house. He said her name is Azula. You know, like the character from Avatar who goes crazy and tries to kill everyone. Yeah, so we called her Azula, and my mom was like, no, we can't keep a cat, we just... So we start feeding her and playing with her, and soon Azula was part of the family. Except one day when I was playing with her, I saw something.
Hey, these two round things look like testicles!
So Azula was actually a dude! We have to change his name. And personally, I didn't like Azula, it just wasn't sticking. So we thought we would call him Mr. Darcy. You know, the character from Jane Austen's book where he ends up marrying that girl. I never watched the movies. But that name wasn't really sticking either. And while all this was happening, we had a French foreign exchange student living with us who, by the way, is the person I'm visiting in France right now, and she didn't know the word for kitten, so she just called him Baby Cat. And that's the name we decided to call him. Baby Cat. Today I'm going to be telling you some stupid riddles that I made up. These riddles could have a bunch of different answers, but only have one stupid answer that make you go, well, how was I supposed to know that? Here's an example of one, I'm sure you all heard this. Romeo and Juliet are at a party, and then a train drives by, and now they're found dead next to a puddle of water and glass. And you think, well, maybe someone from the train threw a water balloon with glass in it and it killed them. But no, the answer is they're fish, and the vibrations of the train made their aquarium fall down. That's stupid! So here are two more riddles that are stupid. Okay, Nate and Haley want to go to this year's school prom, but can't. Why? Because they're both fish! Isn't that a stupid riddle? Okay, here's another one. Tyler and Mackenzie went to the zoo, and a sea lion ate both of them, but no one tried to stop it or freaked out. Why? Because they're both gingers. When you go to the movie theater, there are two sections of seats, here and here. Everyone goes over to these seats because, I don't like having to look up for too long. I get nauseous. But let me say, sitting in these seats is so much better. Okay, yeah, the very first row of seats are a little too close. Maybe like 4 rows back and you got your sweet spot. Why? First, let's get the obvious out of the way. Unless it's a crowded theater, no one else is up there. You get both armrests. You can kick the seat in front of you. You can just... Why did you pay $7.50 to see a movie once? Why? So you can see it on the big screen. I need to appreciate how big this screen is. And also, I think sitting closer brings you right into the world of the movie. Yeah, I guess all the worlds will end up looking like this, but when those loud sound effects go off, you can feel it in your chest. One time I was seeing a movie with a group of friends, and they said, hey, let's sit in the back. What? This isn't some school bus, you're not being cool. When we got there, I literally felt a distance between me and the movie. Just, Thor's right there, I can almost reach. One time when I was in the 4th grade, we took a field trip to the Grand Canyon. Because that's what you do as a school when you live 3.5 hours away from the Grand Canyon. It was beautiful and breathtaking, yada yada yada, but while we were there, we stopped by a gift shop. My mom gave me some money before I went, and I wanted to spend it all. So I bought a snow globe, I don't know why, and as I was holding it, my teacher walked by and asked, oh, James, do you have a snow globe collection? And I said, yeah, but here's the thing, I didn't. I guess I just didn't want to explain why I was buying a snow globe, but then that sparked an idea. Wouldn't it be funny if I started collecting snow globes as a joke? So then I asked my friends and family for snow globes for my birthday and Christmas as a joke. And some of my friends would bring me snow globes from all over the world as a joke. And interestingly enough, I still have the one I got from the Grand Canyon. I mean, I dropped it and all the water's drained out, but it's still the very first one. It was $5. And Miss Askelson, if you're watching this, yes, I do have a snow globe collection, and you started it. So my twin sister, when she was 2 years old, was sitting on a swing with my older brother, who was only a slightly bigger child at the time, and he was trying to get the swing going and fell off on top of my sister. Her top teeth dug into her chin when she fell and had to get stitches, and now she's forever cursed with a faint line on her chin. Fast forward a couple years and she was on the trampoline with me, my brother, and some other friends, and we were just going at it. And Faith said, "Guys, you're bouncing me too high! I'm gonna..." She was in a wheelchair the next couple of months and became the most popular girl in school overnight, until she was all better. But all those injuries are kinda understandable. Mine, however, wasn't. So I had a hamster once, and one day I was cleaning its glass cage outside and I had it flipped upside down. And I thought, I wonder if I can stand on that. There was blood everywhere. The hamster had to live in an old cage, and it was all my fault. But hey, I didn't need stitches, and I have a scar on my foot forever. The last video. When I'm done making this, I can relax and enjoy my trip to France. But as you're watching this, I'm just coming home from my trip to France. That's weird to think about. So to celebrate, here are some unpopular opinions I have. I don't care if you downvote this video, you can't change me. Watermelons and bananas are gross. I liked Star Wars Episode 1. The pod racing scene was cool, and Jar Jar Binks was funny. I didn't like Avatar. The blue people kind, not the good one. I think wedding rings are a waste of money, and I would much rather wear one of these everywhere. We should teach cursive in schools, but the teacher shouldn't say, "You'll use this for the rest of your life." The word talk shouldn't have an L in it. It should be spelled like this. If a dog bites someone and it's not that bad, you shouldn't have to put the dog down. Power Rangers is stupid, and so is Ninja Turtles. Okay, I probably made a lot of enemies today, but most of all, I don't think short people should vote. I'm just kidding, JK. But seriously though. So I feel a bit obligated to talk about France. It was really fun, really. Okay, one thing though. Every meal is like super important in France, except for breakfast for some reason. For lunch and dinner, everyone sat down together as a family and talked. But for breakfast, they were just like, "Here's a croissant. Okay, let's go." I mean, breakfast is only the most important meal of their day. And I was going to make a joke about how they have an entire aisle of cheese in the grocery store, but I realized back home we have an entire aisle for candy and ice cream. So whatever. We went to the Louvre, which was like so amazing. They had really cool art by famous people. They had the famous statue with no arms. They had these really fancy rooms because apparently people used to live here. And probably the most famous painting in the world, the Mona Lisa. That room was super crowded. And right behind the Mona Lisa, there was this super tall painting that probably took 20 years to make. The picture frame was as wide as my body. But were people crowded around this one taking pictures? No. I don't even know what this one's called. The American school system has failed me yet again. And as someone who likes to draw, I thought it was really cool to look at the amazing color and details. Also, I took a bunch of pictures of butts. Look, this is the really famous no-arm one. Look at her butt. So I had a good time, but afterwards we went to the Picasso Museum, Modern Art Museum, and this other one. I forgot its name. It was French. And it's kind of weird going into these places as someone who likes to draw cartoons. Oh, I like the colors, they're pretty neat, and oh, putting the face on the side of the head, that's an interesting design. But I kinda have to draw the line somewhere, Picasso. I mean, just look at this. Why is it framed? Someone framed this. And Picasso was a good artist. Shoot, he's better than me. So why did they throw this stuff to hang up? Would you call this his best work? It's not just Picasso. Look at the modern art museums. My favorite piece was the painting of a black ring. In fact, I loved it so much that I drew over it in my phone and probably spent more time and thought than the actual artist. I'm not saying the more real a painting looks, the more artsy it is. Wait, yes I am. I mean, look at my drawings. No, seriously, look at them. Their heads are super round and they're so white they can't dance. If I entered an art contest against Leonardo da Vinci, he would win because his stuff took talent. It's not easy to draw something that looks exactly like it does in real life. But cartoons? They're easy. They're so easy. And I know I'm leaving out paintings with color schemes and forms. Now after seeing this, I've come up with something called the Keith Haring Principle to help people like me better understand modern art. In the late 70s, a man named Keith Haring drew graffiti in subway stations and had sort of a unique design. Whenever he started to draw graffiti, he never thought about what the finished product was going to be. He just drew whatever he felt like. He ended up making thousands of them, and people started to notice his unique characters. Soon he got more and more famous and popular. Now he's at the point where you can buy t-shirts and mugs of his drawings, and I think that's really cool. They're interesting designs, and I would wear them. Do they belong in a museum? No. Keith made thousands of these small, simple drawings. They're still art, but not art people should pay to see. They should pay to wear and drink out of it. And by the way, this stuff is in no way research, so I'm talking completely out of my butt right now, but I think Picasso and the circle painting should be on t-shirts, or kids' books, or even webcomics. So people would say, hey, I like your shirt. Thanks, I like the design, and would never frame it and hang it up on my wall. Yeah, I'm not really sure you should do a video about Arizona. I mean, only people from Arizona will think it's funny. I'm gonna do it anyway. So if you saw my Bashes video, which I think was the 5th one in the France trip series, you'll know that I live in Arizona. So cool, I'm gonna talk about it. Pros and cons of living in Arizona. Pro, we got cacti. And in fact, we, and a tiny bit of Mexico, are the only place in the world with saguaro cactuses. I mean cacti. Boom! And as an extra bonus, they look really funny with Christmas decorations on them. Con, not a lot of trees. Which I mean, who needs trees? They just stand there. All they do is provide shade and oxygen. I guess you could climb them. I don't need that. Instead of trees, we have these things. Pro, we have In-N-Out. Okay, that store technically originated in California, but it's moved to here, and it's delicious. I actually applied there, and I got an interview. They didn't hire me, though. You guys are missing Con, the heat. It's unbearable. In the summer, you can expect the weather to be in triple digits. We don't have to be told not to leave our dog or babies inside cars because we're already dying of heat stroke while the air conditioning is on. Pro, we don't have daylight savings, which might seem like a good thing, but the only reason we don't is because con, the sun is trying to kill you. Yes, it's hot here. Pro, I think we got the Grand Canyon, which is like one of the 7 wonders of the world, I guess. And it can be seen from the Great Wall of China. I'm just kidding, that's not true. Oh, I got it. Pro, citrus. We grow oranges, lemons, and grapefruits. They only get ripe in the winter, though. These are actually part of the 3 C's of Arizona. We have citrus, copper, cats, cacti, and cattle. And calcium, because of all the sunshine we're getting. Con, it hardly rains here. Yes, that's a bad thing, because I never learned how to close an umbrella. Okay, that's an exaggeration. Of course I know how to close an umbrella, but it was a very hard learning curve. And Arizona was not built to get rained on. When we do get rain, streets flood, schools close, and trees, well, these kinds of trees, fall. Pro. So yeah, the summer can be unbearable, but winter is a total breeze. Winter is when the weather is perfect. While everyone else has to deal with stuff like this, here all we get is ripe lemons perfect for making cold lemonade with. And because our winters are so not really wintry, we have a bunch of old people who move down here in the winter and then move back to their summer home in Minnesota or whatever. They're like birds who migrate south in the winter, but like snowbirds, which is coincidentally what we call them. So really it's sort of a pro/con. On one side we have tolerable weather, but on the other side, old people. You know, I can't really think of any more pros, so we're just gonna say more cons. Apparently Phoenix was ranked number 10 on the rudest cities in America, which, okay, how do you measure a city's rudeness level? All of my friends are pretty nice. Was the person making this list, like, seeking out rude people and comparing them to other cities? Like, oh, this person in Phoenix called me a piece of shit, but this person in Wyoming only called me a piece of crap. So, I guess Phoenix just has more rude people. Add it to the list. And also on the same list, we apparently had some of the worst drivers around, which I can sort of see because everyone here drives 7 to 15 miles over the speed limit. But I really hate slow drivers, so it's kind of a pro for me, but I guess it's a con. Also, did you guys know that a haboob is another name for a dust storm? And I know this because we've had to use that word before. And because we call them that, dust storms become 20 times more awesome. In fact, we're probably excited to see haboobs just so we can make jokes about them. As soon as we see a cloud of dust on the horizon, we all go, ah, guys, it's a haboob! You guys remember? This is what we call it. And then we go inside and make jokes like, oh man, this is one massive haboob. And lastly, probably the worst con of all, the heat. I know I already mentioned it 3 times, but I don't think I've really driven my point home here. It's so hot here. I am literally sweating right now as I'm recording this, and that's not on the script. Please get me out. And some of you watching are probably like, but James, it's a dry heat, right? That means it's not as bad. Let me answer that question with another question, and then an answer. Do you know what else a dry heat is? Ovens. And volcanoes. And that's where I live. So I'm kind of busy, and the new video is still in the works, and also I've been spending some time on some other program, maybe. So I made a super short video to keep your guys' thirst for videos quenched. So here is something that someone actually said to my face. Hey, James, I have the best comic idea. Okay, what is it? Okay, so I was walking to school, and I saw this big black guy. Okay? So maybe you can make a comic about that. But, like, what's the funny part? I don't know, man. He was just so big. I just don't really see what's funny. You could make it funny. Make it funny. How would I make that funny? And then I thought in my head of a big black guy in a clown costume. It was a little funny. So yeah, that was it. Also, do you guys think I should do some speed drawing or even tutorial videos? Let me know in the comments. I think they're boring. But I don't know. You tell me. In 1492, Christopher Columbus, along with his 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinata, and the Saint Maria, sailed the big ocean blue and discovered America. But I mean, there are already people here, and he still called them Indians because he thought, oh, okay, this must be India. People didn't ridicule him because he thought the world was flat. No, they ridiculed him because Chris thought the distance from Asia to Portugal was only 2,400 miles, when in actuality, it was 10,000 miles away, not to mention there was a huge freaking continent between them. It just makes you want to say, boy, were they wrong! And that's the theme of this video. We've come a long way in modern medicine. We have vaccines, and x-rays, and MRI scanners, and we learned to wash our hands before operations because we didn't used to do that before. Boy, were they wrong! Yes, I am going to say that every time. So obviously, with new discoveries in medicine, we'll realize that some of the things we used to do were wrong. No, don't put your baby on its back! It could throw up and choke itself! No, don't put it on its stomach! It can get SIDS! No! Put it on its head. And it also comes as no surprise that some of the things that we used to think were helpful were actually killing us. One such thing is mercury. You see, we didn't even realize that this stuff might be bad for us until 1926. Before that, we used mercury in everything. Okay, that's an exaggeration. We've been mining mercury since the Roman times and used mercury in paint and hats and thermometers. And back in ye old days, people who made hats with mercury had a higher chance of getting dementia. And that's where the term mad as a hatter came from, because they were mad with dementia. And also, just a PSA, we put mercury in the swirly light bulb, so if you break one, well, it's time to die. And in ancient history, some healers promised that by consuming deadly brews containing mercury, their patients would gain eternal life and the ability to walk on water. No. One of the most famous cases was a Chinese emperor called Qin Shi Huang, who died after ingesting a mercury pill that was supposed to make him immortal. Boy, were they wrong! Also, speaking of ingesting poisonous food, Europeans thought that the tomato was poisonous. What? So apparently, rich Europeans ate their tomatoes on pewter plates, which, guess what, had lead in them. And because tomatoes are acidic, whenever people ate tomatoes off the plates, the fruit, because they're a fruit, remember, would leach lead from the plate and become poisoned, and then people would eat it and die. And everyone blamed the tomato, but the real killer was right under them the whole time. And apparently there's a story about George Washington where one of his cooks tried to assassinate him by putting a tomato in his soup. But that didn't work because they're harmless. And also Snoop said the whole story was false. So... boy, were they wrong! Here's something else. In medieval times, back before we really knew about diseases and immune systems, if someone was sick, doctors would just be like, ugh, you just got bad blood, man. So what the doctors would do to remedy this would be to slit your wrists and let them bleed all of their blood out. This was called bloodletting. And also something cool is that it wasn't surgeons doing these procedures, it was barbers. But surgeon barbers, not the ones who cut hair. And they were called that because they carried big scissors around and cut people's wrists. And also according to Wikipedia, that's the reason barbershops have red and white poles in front of them, because the red symbolizes blood and the white bandages. Or I could be totally wrong, I'm not doing any more research into it. But back to bloodletting, no, it's incredibly stupid. In fact, our blood has white blood cells in it, which kill viruses, so boy were they wrong! Okay, what else we got? So do you remember in 10th grade chemistry when you had to remember all those elements on the periodic table? And remember how you failed that test and thought, man, if only the periodic table was shorter and had like 4 elements, and those elements were earth, water, fire, and air. Well, if you lived in the BC to early 16th century, you wouldn't have had to take that online chem class because you'd have been right! And apparently Aristotle said that there was a 5th element, aether, which, according to the second Thor movie, is one of the 6 Infinity Stones. And people believed this until this freaking nerd was like, actually there's a bajillion elements, and now everyone has to memorize them. You know, I wonder what those BuzzFeed articles that are like 9 things you thought were true but aren't would have been like in medieval times. So about 2 years ago, I made a comic about 12 useful shortcuts you can use on Paint Tool Sci. And people seem to like it, so I'm basically going to go over it all right now in video form. I still use all these shortcuts after 2 years. If you're familiar with Sci, then you might already know some of these, and you might learn a few new things, I don't know. And if you just started Sci, or you want to start, then learning these tricks will make it much easier on yourself, and you'll be able to draw things way quicker, and you'll just be happy down the line. So if we open up Paint Tool Sci, it looks a little something like this. And right away, before we begin, I like to turn the navigator off. Navigator is something that lets you move around the canvas and you can zoom and rotate or whatever. Why I don't like it is because once you learn all these shortcuts, this whole thing becomes obsolete. I never used it and would rather have more room for my layers. You can keep it if you want, I mean, I'm not stopping you. So if we just go to Window, Navigator, that gets rid of it, and now we have so much room for layers. Look at that, that's like 16 layers. The first tip is that double-clicking on any tool will let you rename it and create a shortcut key for it. So if we click, here we have the sketch, and I made the shortcut key Z, which actually is not a sketch. I actually use that for line art. What? So you definitely want to get yourself familiar with each tool and what shortcut key you would feel more comfortable using it with. For me, Z is the pen tool because when you're drawing, you press Ctrl Z a lot, and so your finger's already on the Z button. So next I have the X key as my magnifying glass because it's right next to the Z key. And I have it set up like this, so tapping on the screen zooms out, and drawing a box anywhere zooms it in. And I also have Q to sketch, which is the marker tool. Next is pressing the tab key will get rid of all the sidebars and increase your drawing space. So right now I have this beautiful masterpiece, but it's getting kind of cut off and I wish I had more room. So just press tab and there we go. Pressing these bracket keys will change your brush size. They only change sizes on this chart though. 99% of the time I find it to be an okay method. But if you really want a more precise brush size, then use the slider. And you can also change the scale to get larger and larger. So now I can change my brush size without having to go back and forth and pressing all those pesky buttons. Yay. Right-clicking the mouse will activate the eyedropper tool. Most tablet pens are made to right-click. So you know those books you make in elementary school that you write as a class, and some publishing company makes them into a real book so your family can buy copies? Well, when I was in the 4th grade, we were assigned to write and illustrate a short story that we would make into a book. Now, I'm pretty sure most people wrote stories about normal things, like their dog or their friends. But I wrote a story that had the title of, I Do Not Like This Family. I don't know for sure, but I bet this title made my teacher very worried. Here's what the cover looks like. Look, I'm so cute. As you can see here, I'm getting beaten up by my brother. Here, I'm being yelled at to wake up. And here, I'm looking out the window at kids having fun on their scooters, while I have a list of chores to do right here. And if anyone's wondering, I had a great childhood. I mean, I wasn't abused or anything. My parents' marriage was stable. I guess I just really hated the chores my mom made me do. But anyway, time to get into the juicy stuff. Here's the story. I Do Not Like This Family by James Rowson. At school. Okay, class, time for reading.
I like to sing, dance, pretend, and I like to have fun, 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 fun.
I believe there's something special in alms. Belief can make you rich. Belief can make you powerful. Why, with enough belief, you can even cheat death itself.
Looks like we're in for a fight. Here they come!
I believe there's something special in alms. Belief can make you rich. Belief can make you powerful. Why, with enough belief, you can even cheat death itself.
Looks like we're in for a fight. Here they come!
guys, Neatly here, doing a quick video to let you all know about something special we're doing for Bendy fans everywhere. Now that the trailer for Chapter 5 has come out, I just wanted to say how much working on Bendy and the Ink Machine has meant to me, Mike, and the whole team. It's grown so much larger than anything we could have ever imagined a year ago, and it's all thanks to you. So, as a very special way of giving back to you guys, I'm happy and humble to announce that if you've bought Chapters 2 through 4 of Bendy and the Ink Machine on Steam, you'll be receiving Chapter 5 on Steam completely free. It's a big gift. From our little team to say thank you for your support of everything we do. And to make it a little easier for people who don't own the previous chapters, I'm making the Chapters 1 through 4 bundle on Steam 20% off starting right now. Thanks for always being there, everyone.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 creepy Google Maps images finally explained. So I'm sure if you've been on the internet or on this channel, you know there's some really scary things on Google Maps and Google Street. I've made a bunch of videos talking about some scary unexplained things on Google Maps, but after researching, some of these things have finally been explained. And here are some new things we've never talked about on this channel too, which have finally been explained. Before we get into it, why not subscribe and press the notification bell too. Coming in at number 10 we have Giant Bunny. So a few years back, Google Maps users everywhere were stunned when they saw this. Out in the middle of nowhere in Italy on a mountain lies a giant pink bunny rabbit. But why is this massive big bunny sprawled on a hillside in northern Italy? It's kind of a creepy bunny rather than a happy one. The creature's mouth is wide open and its eyes look to be rolled up. Well, another amazing fact about this passed out bunny which you can't see from above is it's actually knitted. You may have thought this was made with bricks or something, but no, this massive bunny was actually knitted together by a group of people. But why, you may be asking? Well, this pink animal has actually been knitted by a Vietnamese art collection named Gelatin. That's right guys, this giant creepy bunny is simply an art installation. It's pretty impressive though, it's 200 feet long and is supposed to attract tourists. It is in the middle of nowhere though, so I'm not sure how successful that is. One thing it definitely did attract was a bunch of confused Google Maps users. Believe it or not, if you visit this thing, you can even climb and play on the bunny. It's going to remain on the mountainside until 2025 when it will finally be removed. But guys, if you want to see it, I would get down there right now. That is because this bunny is decomposing. I'm not sure what's creepier, a giant bunny rabbit laid out on a mountain or a decomposing giant bunny laid out on a mountain. Either way, consider this maps mystery finally explained. Next up is girl. So in 2009, before any of these creepy Google Maps lists even existed, someone found something strange on Google Street View. A British man was looking at his home on Middle Road, Worcestershire. That was when he saw something that terrified him. He let other people know, and within a few months, everyone was anxiously browsing this street as they thought they saw a murder scene. As you can see, laid out on the floor appears to be the body of a girl. Her shoes are off and she's laying face down. Many residents and users who saw this thought the girl had been killed. But it wasn't until 1 year later in 2010 when the girl in the photo came forward, saying that she wasn't dead. Believe it or not, this was one of the first ever pranks on a Google streetcar. This is actually Azura Bibajan, who's 10 years old. She was outside her home when this happened playing with a friend, and then she saw the Google streetcar come by. She then decided to play dead in hopes to prank the Google streetcar. Her mother said the photos caused a lot of fuss amongst her neighbors, but Azura and her mother find the photo very funny. It's pretty impressive that one 10-year-old girl can troll millions and millions of people. So this photo has finally been explained. Next up is lips. So earlier this year, someone saw something very strange in the Sudan desert. What they found was a mysterious body part in the desert. But what body part was it? Don't worry, it wasn't an arm or leg or head, instead it was a giant pair of lips. That's right, a massive pair of lips was spotted in the desert. Now at first, many people simply said this was a prank that someone's made out in the Sudan desert. But this 500-meter long pair of lips is not fake whatsoever. In fact, it's totally real and naturally made. You may be wondering, why does it take this form? Well, that's simple. It's actually a hill. You may be wondering, if it's a hill, then why is the sand color different? Well, that's not actually sand. The orange thing on the hill is actually rock. That's right, there's less sand and more orange rock on this very steep 500-meter long hill. And the row of trees making the line in the lips is simply a coincidence. It's likely due to how some of the hill is shaded by the sun. When this photo was discovered in 2018, it sparked many UFO extraterrestrial theories. But I hate to break it to you lovable tinfoil hat wearers, but this has been finally explained. Next up is bin bodies. So we've already seen the body of one girl, which was debunked as a prank. But what if you saw a bunch of bodies all put in a bin? In 2014, one person got very scared when they saw this in Chile. As you can see, it looks like many bodies have been dumped in a dumpster. They also appear to have been taped up in duct tape, which is also what cartels in Mexico do. But don't worry guys, there are no Mexican cartels at work here. Instead, these are simply bodies of mannequins. That's right guys, this dumpster is right next to a Chilean clothing store. These are simply old mannequins they must not have wanted, and they happened to put it out on the same day the Google streetcar came by. It's kind of bad timing, but also good, seeing as I'm sure this shop got a lot of press. Everyone thought these were definitely bodies, as many people think that Chile is a dangerous country. But this image was actually caught in one of the least dangerous parts of the country. So don't worry, the police don't need to get involved here. I'm pretty sure even the fashion police don't get involved with mannequins. Next up is airplane graveyard. So it's no secret that military bases are blocked out on Google Maps. This is because other countries don't want other countries to know what technology and airplanes they have. So that is why many military air bases are blurred out on Google Maps. But did you know that the place which holds the most military jets is actually completely available to view? And it's in the middle of the desert in Tucson, Arizona, USA. But what are all of these thousands and thousands of aeroplanes all over the place? You may think it's the world's biggest airport, or a version of Area 51. But no, this is what's referred to as the Airplane Graveyard. That stands for Aerospace Maintenance and Regeneration Center. It's basically a boneyard where they put all abandoned airplanes. But these aren't just any old commercial airplanes. These are US military, Air Force, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard and Army planes. There are also many other national agencies' planes which are all dumped here. There's over 4,200 aircraft in AMARC, and looking at this place is really amazing. Many people thought this was some kind of Area 51-esque secret alien base. But no, it's simply AMARC, which is actually also pretty fascinating. The reason why they're out in the desert is because it's dry all year round. This way the aircraft won't rust, and they can be used for parts. Unfortunately, this airplane boneyard is not available to the public. It would be absolutely amazing to just walk around this place. But due to national security, that is not an option. And guys, in case you're wondering, this entire area here is owned by AMARC. So there's room for centuries more abandoned old military jets. Next up is Blood Trail. So this is another very scary Google Maps image that looks like a crime. If you guys look at this image, you likely think it's a guy dragging a body to throw it in this lake. That's what everyone thought, and the police even looked into this. But no guys, the man in this image has come forward and he said it's totally innocent. Here's what happened. There is a man in this image, but the other body is actually just a dog. His dog was playing in the lake, getting all wet. Then when it ran up this boardwalk, it changed to the color of the wood. We all know that wood changes color as it gets wet, and that's exactly what happened here. So the man wasn't trying to throw a body off this dog. Instead, he was simply playing with his dog on a nice sunny day. It's pretty crazy how something so innocent can look so sinister from above. It's a good thing there wasn't a police helicopter above them at this point. Otherwise, they could have also got the wrong idea and this guy could have been in trouble. It's pretty insane there was so much media attention around this image, the man actually had to come forward himself. But it just goes to show guys, sometimes
Right there. So what
Hey guys, Super Horror Mike here, and in today's Baldi's Basics in Education and Learning video, we take a look at the mysteries of Here School, the characters who inhabit it, and why exactly Baldi's questions seem to make no sense at all. And what about that bizarre field trip that recently released? All of these questions will be covered in today's theory, which expands and elaborates on my original Baldi theory, in which I proposed the main character may have some kind of mental disorder, such as schizophrenia. Hence why they see the world in such a tainted light. The more I thought about this theory, the more I became aware that the entire school may not be a normal high school, and instead a school for special education. And this principle will be the groundwork for today.
Such a beautiful day, the sun's shining in a beautiful way, gonna take a shower, brush my teeth, then
life is ultimately meaningless.
But I'll get out of the house, get on the road, top down, hands out, on my favorite song and nod to the rhythm.
The planet is being destroyed by your carbon emissions.
But I'll head to class, driving fast on every test till I pass, and my grades are screaming in my face. Hey!
98% of what you learn is a waste.
I get to hang out with all my friends. My friends are the friendliest friends. Can't think of a better way to spend my time.
Your brain is flawed and all your friends will die.
Never mind, I'm alive in the greatest nation. So proud of
the exploitation of the natives.
This graceful bird means freedom for all.
Tell that to the slaves, and bald eagles aren't bald.
I can live in the moment, milk every second.
At any time you could get clinical depression.
But I'll just be happy no matter what's in store.
It's quite genetic and we have no cure.
At least we are young. Life is fun.
It goes downhill.
We gotta make the most of it, make the most of it.
Or you'll regret it.
We are young.
Now
life is fun.
To some people,
we gotta make the most of it, make the most of it.
Good luck.
I got a brand new job today, doing stuff that'll help the economy. I'll save money and buy things at the store.
Banks can crash and capitalism is flawed.
And it's all because of my hard work.
Now the 1,000 advantages you left into at birth.
I put a lot of effort in my resume.
Good thing you don't have a black person's name.
I'm proud to be a functioning member of society. Finally, I can be the citizen I dream to be. Part of the community, contribute with my tax. What could possibly stop me?
The shrinking middle class.
At least I got a nice stable job.
Till it's outsourced to China or replaced by a robot.
Oh god, then I could relax a bit.
You'll be empty with nothing to distract from it.
But man, I'm a passionate graduate. I could be different and I have career paths to pick from. I could be a rapper or an animator if I'm lucky.
Neither of those will make you happy, trust me.
I'm able to choose what I pursue.
You're a slave to people born richer than you.
Then screw it! I'll keep going in, then I'll party on the weekend and sing. No,
Thanks to auto-tune.
We are young. Life is fun.
It goes downhill.
We gotta make the most of it, make the most of it.
Or you'll regret it.
We are young.
Still die.
Life is fun.
Until you die.
We gotta make the most of it, make the most of it.
Because you'll die.
Life is a wonder.
You'll never know the answer.
Nature is a miracle.
Natural disasters.
It's good to be alive.
You could wake up with cancer.
But I'm healthy.
Healthy people still get cancer.
I love this show.
It's the last episode.
The sun is shining.
It's going to explode.
Every species is beautiful and unique though.
Children have malaria thanks to mosquitoes.
I met a cute girl with a ponytail.
Statistically, that relationship is going to fail.
I have a wonderful family. It's like no other.
You're not special and one day you'll bury your mother.
No matter what, I can find a home.
We will all die alone.
There's amazing potential in every human on Earth.
There's no escaping the heat death of the universe.
I don't have to live life based on negative parts. No matter how bad they are, they're just thoughts.
Yeah, that's fair.
Wait, really?
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Wait, but you were just telling me to...
Whatever, man. I don't know. Live your life how you want. I'm not forcing you to do anything. I'm just saying.
Oh. Well, in that case... We are young. Life is fun. We gotta make the most of it, make the most of it. We are young. Life is fun. We gotta make the most of it, make the most of it.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
such a beautiful day. The sun's shining in a beautiful way. Gonna take a shower, brush my teeth, then
Life is ultimately meaningless.
but I'll get out of the house, get on the road, top down, hands out on my favorite song and nod to the
The
rhythm.
planet is being destroyed by your carbon emissions.
But I'll head to class, driving fast on every test till I pass, and my grades are screaming in my face. Hey,
98% of what you learn is a waste.
I get to hang out with all my friends. My friends are the friendliest friends. Can't think of a better way to spend my time.
Your brain is flawed and all your friends will die.
Never mind, I'm alive in the greatest nation. So proud of
The exploitation of the natives.
this graceful bird means freedom for
Tell
all.
that to the slaves, and bald eagles aren't bald.
I can live in the moment, milk every second,
At any time you could get clinical depression.
but I'll just be happy no matter what's in store.
By genetic and we have no cure.
At least we are young. Life is fun.
It goes downhill,
We gotta make the most of it, make the most of it.
or you'll regret it.
We are young.
Now,
Life is fun.
for some people,
We gotta make the most of it, make the most of it.
good luck.
I got a brand new job today, doing stuff that'll help the economy. I'll save money and buy things at the store,
Banks can crash and capitalism is flawed.
and it's all because of my hard work.
And the 1,000 advantages you looked into at birth.
I put a lot of effort in my resume.
Good thing you don't have a black person's name.
I'm proud to be a functioning member of society. Finally, I can be the citizen I dream to be. Part of the community, contribute with my tax. What could possibly stop me?
The shrinking middle class,
At least I got a nice stable job.
till it's outsourced to China or replaced by a robot.
Oh god, then I could relax a bit.
You'll be empty with nothing to distract from it.
But man, I'm a passionate graduate. I could be different and I have career paths to pick from. I could be a rapper or an animator if I'm lucky.
Neither of those will make you happy, trust me.
I'm able to choose what I pursue.
You're a slave to people born richer than you.
Then screw it. I'll keep going in, then I'll party on the weekend and sing.
Thanks to autotune,
We are young. Life is fun.
it goes downhill,
We gotta make the most of it, make the most of it.
or you'll regret it.
We are young.
Still die
Life is fun.
till you die,
We gotta make the most of it, make the most of it.
because you'll die.
Life is a wonder.
You'll never know the answer.
Nature is a miracle.
Natural disasters.
It's good to be alive.
You could wake up with cancer.
But I'm healthy.
Healthy people still get cancer.
I love this show.
It's the last episode.
The sun is shining.
It's going to explode.
Every species is
I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. I don't believe in ghosts. Do you remember a day in October? The leaves were falling just like me when it was over. One more day of sorrow and I'll struggle. Do you remember a day in October? The leaves were falling just like me when it was over. One more day of sorrow and I'll struggle to stay sober. Hope to see you later when I get older. I still remember the smell of your perfume. It hasn't left me since the day you made me blue. I think I saw you but I know I'm not supposed to. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. December. The leaves were falling just like me when it was over. One more day of sorrow and I'll struggle to stay sober. Hope to see you later when I get older. I still remember the smell of your perfume. It hasn't left me since the day you made me blue. I think I saw you but I know I'm not supposed to. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah. Ghosts, yeah. Ghosts, yeah. I must be dreaming cause I don't believe in ghosts, yeah.